Imagine a single speech echoing across generations, a voice that stirred a nation's conscience and ignited a movement for equality. That was Martin Luther King Jr., a preacher whose words and actions reshaped America's journey toward justice. His legacy isn't just about history, it's about the power of nonviolent resistance, the courage to dream, and the enduring fight for human dignity. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, into a family deeply rooted in the African American church tradition. His father, a Baptist minister, and his mother, a schoolteacher, instilled in him a strong sense of faith and social responsibility. Raised in the segregated South, King witnessed firsthand the injustices of Jim Crow laws, separate schools, public facilities, and deep systemic racism. These early experiences shaped his lifelong commitment to fighting inequality. King's academic path was remarkable. He skipped 2 grades in high school and entered Morehouse College at 15. There, under the influence of President Benjamin Mays, he deepened his understanding of social justice and the moral imperative to act. He earned a bachelor's degree in sociology, then pursued theological studies at Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where he studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi on nonviolence. In 1955, he completed his doctorate in systematic theology at Boston University. In 1954, King became pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. His leadership in the civil rights movement began in earnest the following year, when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a city bus. The Montgomery Bus Boycott, 1955-1956, which King helped organize and lead, lasted over a year, and ended with the Supreme Court ruling that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. This victory marked King as a national figure and demonstrated the power of collective, nonviolent action. Emboldened by success, King co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, in 1957, serving as its first president. The SCLC became a driving force in the civil rights movement, organizing campaigns across the South. King's philosophy centered on nonviolent protest, drawing from Christian ethics and Gandhi's principles. He believed that love and peaceful resistance could expose injustice and awaken moral conscience. Throughout the 1960s, King led pivotal campaigns that tested America's commitment to equality. The Birmingham Campaign, 1963, used sit-ins, marches, and boycotts to challenge segregation in one of the most racially divided cities. Despite violent police responses, including the use of fire hoses and attack dogs, protesters held firm. The images shocked the nation and built momentum for federal action. On August 28, 1963, King stood at the Lincoln Memorial before over 250,000 people and delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. His words, blending biblical imagery, American ideals, and a vision of racial harmony, became a defining moment in U.S. history. The speech galvanized support for civil rights legislation and cemented King's place as a moral leader. The following years brought landmark victories. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 dismantled barriers that had prevented African Americans from voting, especially in the South. King's advocacy was instrumental in both achievements, though he knew the struggle extended beyond legislation. In 1964, at just 35 years old, King received the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent leadership in the civil rights struggle. He used the platform to call for global disarmament and an end to poverty, expanding his focus to include economic justice and opposition to the Vietnam War. His 1967 Beyond Vietnam speech marked a turning point, linking civil rights with peace and human rights worldwide. King's final campaign, the Poor People's Campaign, aimed to address economic inequality across racial lines. In early 1968, he traveled to Memphis, Tennessee, to support striking sanitation workers demanding fair wages and safe conditions. On April 3, 1968, he delivered his poignant "I've been to the mountaintop" speech, speaking of a long road ahead, but expressing faith in the cause. The next day, April 4, 1968, King was assassinated on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. His death sparked mourning and unrest across the nation. Yet his legacy endures. In 1983, Congress established Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a federal holiday, celebrated annually on the third Monday of January. His writings, speeches, and example continue to inspire movements for justice around the world. From school curricula to street names and monuments, King's message of equality, nonviolence, and unity remains a guiding light. Today, Martin Luther King Jr. is remembered not only as a civil rights icon, but as a global symbol of moral courage. His belief that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice continues to resonate, reminding us that change is possible when people stand together with purpose and principle. His life teaches that one voice, grounded in faith and conviction, can indeed change the world.